Welcome to Connected, the podcast that centers collective care and relationships that outlast empire. We're your hosts, Tolu and Gitika, two licensed mental health professionals in the so-called United States. So, Gitika, today we are actually, let me back up. Sorry. How are you doing? How are you arriving to our podcast today?
Today I am arriving, I think a little sheepish because
Okay.
I know we've been away from the podcast for a few weeks. Time is very fluid. And I know we've been like in this rhythm of recording podcast episodes, and then we suddenly went missing because we realized we had a few things to take care of and we couldn't find time to meet. So I think I'm arriving a little sheepish, but I do want all our listeners to know that we have not abandoned the podcast, obviously, because there is that concern about like after 5 episodes, people give up. We've not given up, of course, but Tolu and I have been working on something in the background. So I'm just arriving both excited that we are recording an episode again after a while and wanted folks to know we never forget the podcast and we're working on something in the background. So that's
Yeah.
how I am. How are you, Tolu?
Yes. I'm excited to be here. I'm doing well. I'm doing the best that I can. I've been having a lot of fun cultivating and deepening some relationships, professional relationships, personal relationships. So that's been really cool to kind of see that blossom in this new season of spring that we're in. As well too, yeah, there definitely has. We've gone silent. We've kind of dropped off. Apologies, we're new at this. Well, I'm new at this. I'll speak for myself. So
No, please
definitely
do.
about communicating with you all about the silence, the momentary silence. I hope it wasn't too long, but I hope you missed us. But we're back, and we're excited to be here. So I thought today, Gitika, that we could explore the idea of values. I talk a lot about values in my personal work when it comes to my one-on-one sessions with my clients. I feel like values are a North Star. They
Mhm.
help us in decision making, they help us in relationship building, they help us in what type of job do I want to have or what type of employee do I want to work for. So values are that thing that I feel like can impact all parts of your life. Um, and the reason I bring up values too is because Gitika and I are working on something in the background that has really important values that we feel like are really important when it comes to thinking about collective liberation, collective healing, right? These values are really important. So Gitika, yeah, like let me ask, what is your relationship to values? How important are values to you? How do values show up for you in your life?
Yeah, I think a few weeks ago in one of our episodes, I think we'd even spoken about how much I feel guided by love and how do I continue to feel something in my body when I'm doing anything. So it's not like intellectual importance alone, but it's that I want to feel it in my whole body that this resonates. This is a wholehearted love expression. So I feel for me, my values are um, what will help me create conditions for love to naturally arise. And how can I be a part of it? How can I be a vessel for it? Or how can I also be someone who leans into love more than other things? So I think for me, my values are that actions and um, gestures that come at the heart of it from a place of feeling love and trying to generate love. So I would
Yeah,
say that's what it is for me. What about you?
absolutely. For me, values are really important in how I live my life. I have these three main values that in my personal and professional life. I even share this with my clients in my consultation. Like my values are collaboration, compassion, and curiosity.
Yeah.
Um, Collaboration is so important. Like I said before in previous podcasts, the organizing principle of the universe is relationship, right? So by nature, like we're collaborative beings, whether you realize it or not. Like everything exists in relationships. We might as well get good at collaborating and being in relationship with one another.
Yeah.
And then curiosity is really important for me as well too. I feel like curiosity invites openness, invites um, this curiosity invites us to soften and to slow down.
Hmm.
Uh, I read this somewhere online, but I never actually really fact checked it. But so you, don't take this. I haven't really checked this yet, so don't take this like seriously. But I read somewhere, maybe it was like a thread or something, that curiosity actually does like a lot of good for us, our mental health and our brain development, because it
Mhm.
creates a crease in the brain, like an extra like layer of like expansion, right? Like it's actually healthy to be curious. Now I haven't actually researched that for myself, so I need to go
Mhm.
actually fact check that. But it makes sense, right? Curiosity
Yeah.
is what keeps us sharp. It keeps us alive. It helps us like expand our capacity and our imagination to imagine a better future.
Right.
So curiosity, like I hold very dear, near and dear, and curiosity keeps us um, when it comes to like healing and when it comes to relational work.
Yeah.
Curiosity keeps us in it longer. It's more sustainable than like judgment or shame or doubt towards ourselves or towards other people when we're able to be curious instead of quick to judge them. Like, I wonder why they did that versus why do they do that? You know what I mean? That completely shut down maybe conversation or a, um, yeah, the conversation, right? So
Mhm.
curiosity and then compassion too. uh, Compassion not only reserved for other people but for ourselves. Um, we live in a very difficult world. You know, there's a lot of beauty and there's a lot of like harshness and tension as well too. And
Mhm.
compassion helps us stay in it because not everything lasts forever, right? So can we like move from a place of compassion not only for others but for ourselves as well too? And
Mhm.
those are just like one of the main. Those are like the three big ones. Obviously, like values, like there's so many other values that I have, but
Right.
values help us navigate the world and they help with like decision fatigue too. That's why I love values because it's such a hack. Because if
Yeah.
like, in alignment with, so for instance, with love, right? Like you're not going to participate in something that doesn't have love or that love isn't present or felt or embodied.
Right.
Um, yeah, that's what's coming up for me around values.
Yeah. And I'm also thinking about how, like you were saying that curiosity, like I recognize that you also want to fact check it. So you don't want to necessarily talk about the brain science part of it without reading it yourself. But if we recognize from our own lived experience, when there is curiosity, there is the opportunity to look at something and step back and say, I wonder, as opposed to react, react, react. So curiosity does allow the that expansiveness. So instead of that constriction that is necessary as you're about to take an action, curiosity is allowing you to step back and expand your mind and think about, I wonder why, I wonder what. And I'm thinking about this book I'm reading right now, where there are these children who are surviving genocide and they are asking questions, which really strikes me that those questions are highlighting their capacity to still dream of an alternative. So I start realizing how much curiosity lends itself to liberation because
Mm,
it keeps us in that state of not just surviving, but asking, is there another way of being? Why is
yeah,
it like this?
yeah,
So I feel like, yeah, just from lived experience can we recognize like how beautiful that quality is that you're describing, the value of curiosity. And I'm also thinking about that part, you named about how we've been collaborative. And I'm also recognizing that even in the ancient times, there are so many stories of war, battles. People do fight. So it's not always been collaborative. The animal kingdom, you don't always see collaboration. You do see animals killing each other.
Yeah.
And I realize that when we center collaboration as a value, we are actually recognizing, hey, is there another way of being that is not survival oriented? Because
Yeah.
war and battle have created survival and they've created competition. Who tells me I loved war? I mean, I'm afraid there are people who might think that, but
No, there are.
there are. So
Yeah.
we have not always been collaborative. We still aren't always collaborative, but at the heart of it, that's what makes something a value, I guess.
Yeah.
That the evidence has shown across time that what thrived was uh, possible because there was some collaboration. Is the
Yeah.
collaboration sometimes for the greater common evil? Unfortunately, yes.
Yes.
And again, it shows us like, okay, so it was the collaboration that facilitated evil. So I think there is like that part of me that's recognizing as we are naming these values, we are actually naming them from the perspective of what will take us out of survival mode and take us into long-term sustainable living mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think with what we're building, Gitika, that we have thought about what are the values of what we're building, right? I think it's important, whenever you're building something or whatever you're trying to create, what are the values that are holding that thing together,
Yeah.
right? And in general, for Connected, right, of our podcast and kind of this connected universe we're building out, we have on our website, if you haven't went to it yet, we have a
Please
few
do.
values that we have identified. Now, I believe that everything is flexible and living, so these may change, but this is where we're at right now in the season of Connected and with this podcast. And what we've listed are 5 different values. And the first one is collaboration. The second one
Mhm.
is the third one is compassion. The fourth one is curiosity. And the fifth one is care. Right. So those are the 5 values that we've listed for Connected. And I'm curious about, and I like that they're all C's. You see what we kind of did there. So it's kind of a commonality or like a thread weaving in there with those different values that we've listed for Connected. Um, so as we're listing, well, I guess with the values that I've listed, right? Care is one of those
Mhm.
values, right? Because I believe in order to have a liberated future, have an alternative future of what we're envisioning, care has to be in the center of that as well too.
Yeah.
Um, so when you think about care, and how does that show up in the universe of Connected that we're trying to build together?
Yeah. I'll edit this part out, but we have about 10 more minutes ish.
Cool. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. About care. We said care, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I imagine care shows up, not just imagine, but that's how I hope to continue to practice is the care that shows that you notice someone, you see them, and you want their well-being and you long for their well-being because you recognize that we can't be well unless we are all well.
Yeah.
How do we continue to foster that very genuine wellness? Some of that sickness is created by systems and oppressive ideologies, oppressive systems, and care is meant to be an antidote to that.
Yeah.
That's how I
Absolutely.
see it. And
Yeah.
it's meant to buffer against the damage that is constantly being created by harm.
Yes.
Mm.
When
Yeah.
when I, when I think about care, I think about the concept of the pods written by Transformative Justice is the organization, I think
Mhm.
based out of the West Coast. I don't remember the name of the person who created the pods worksheet. Do you remember her name?
Mia Mingus.
Yeah, Mia Mingus,
Mm.
yes.
Yes.
And she has this idea of creating pods with people with different types of pods in your life.
Yeah.
And the pods essentially what's being invited of you is to be able to identify when maybe you are looking to build just like a general pod of less like support, right? Okay, who are 5 people you can contact in an emergency, or if a crisis is happening, or you just need someone to talk to because you're having a rough time, or you want to celebrate something, right? Can you identify 5 people in that, right?
Right.
So being able to identify who can I reach out to when I do need care as well too, right?
Yes.
I think it's important that we are able to build those types of relationships where we know that we will be cared for and vice versa.
Right.
Um, it takes time to build that.
Yeah. And I think if you can also give yourself permission to accept care,
Yeah.
because so many of us who are in caregiving roles, whether professionally or personally in our family, we took on those roles and then we continue to take on that role in like society or the communities we are in. Sometimes the caregivers can get really hooked to caring but not receiving care.
Mm,
So it's something that I just thought about, like
yeah.
not only who you can rely on, but what is the internal work you're willing to do to accept care.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
And then and I mentioned earlier too, coherence is one of the other values.
Yeah,
Um, and I know coherence is a word you don't hear too often, so I want to actually read the definition of coherence so folks
please.
of it. Coherence is the quality of being logical, consistent, and systematically connected, where diverse parts fit together to create a unified whole. I'll read that one more time. Coherence is the quality of being logical, consistent, and systematically connected, where diverse parts fit together to create a unified whole.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm. I
What's
noticed a
coming
part
up?
of me that's like, why
Yeah,
is logical in there? And logical is good. Like there is a logic to this universe.
yes,
Um,
yes,
but I think I really love unified whole. There's Tetris has a logic,
yeah,
and unified whole is the Tetris logic where everything is coming together in a wholesome way. Yeah.
yes,
What about you? How did you feel reading the definition?
yeah. The part where it says where diverse parts fit together to create a unified whole,
Hmm.
right? Diverse parts come together to create a unified whole, right? So coherence is assuming there's difference,
Yeah.
right? But despite the difference, there can still be unification.
Mhm.
So I think that's such a beautiful way of like again kind of connected to connected, right? Like the global majority. We are all different parts, but coming together to be a unified whole, right? In my
Yeah.
imagining for a better future, right? So yeah, I just love the word coherence. It does something for me. I don't know why, but it does. So
Yeah. When you were also talking about diverse parts coming together to create a unified whole and how you were describing it, I was also reminded of this teacher. Uh, she's an Ethiopian American Buddhist teacher whose name I'm now forgetting, but I insist on Googling this right now because I'm a little appalled with myself for how much she's contributed to me and I'm forgetting her name. Um, I'm going to edit this.
okay.
Maybe I won't. Sebene Selassie. And
Mm,
she talks about how things are not separate, but not the same.
mm, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that speaks to what we're trying to build with Connected, with like we acknowledge that we have differences, we have different lived experiences, we
Yeah.
have differences, right? But also to, despite the differences, can we build the relational skills to be a unified whole, despite the
Mhm.
differences, or even with the differences there still, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like
Yeah.
it's a good way to kind of, because
Yeah.
there's beauty in difference. Different is not a bad thing,
Totally.
right? I
Totally.
think colonization, imperialism, white supremacy has coupled difference or unfamiliarity with danger or enemy.
Correct. The
And I think,
constant ring. Yeah.
yeah, that's to be feared. That's dangerous, right? That needs to be annihilated. It needs to be genocided, right? Because it's different,
Yeah.
right? And I think what we're trying to build with Connected is we're trying to flip that on its head, right? Indifference is something that's not something to be feared.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And we are not separate. We are not the same. Like Ethiopian American Buddhist teacher Sebene Selassie talks about in her book. I'm going to find the title of the book and link it in the show notes. But it also had really resonated with me when I'd first read it, because I had been going through this moment of deep insight around how much solidarity work sometimes ended up seeming like it demanded erasure. And
Mm,
for the greater common good, don't talk about this other stuff. Like, especially those of us who are BIPOC, global majority folks, there are things that we have dealt with internally that we have sometimes not been able to talk about with each other out of concern that in our bigger fight for liberation, things will get distracting or derailed if we try to address some of our challenges with difference. But in that process, like the solidarity was, I fear that solidarity ended up being treated as this really fragile thing that could not withstand conversation about difference, conversation about, hey, we are not separate, but we are not the same. How do we honor and collectively witness each other and build a stronger solidarity that has not demanded the erasure of specific ways in which suffering shows up for all of us? So I'm really naming how much strength there is in holding coherence as a value, and also not trying to shortcut our way to coherence. Coherence takes energy, takes time,
yes,
and it takes
yes,
diligent action. It's a practice.
it absolutely is.
Yeah. So
Is
yeah,
I
value practice.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I know we're pretty much at time, but
Yeah.
I wanted, when you talked about what came up for me was that it takes time to build coherence, right? And that what came up for me was safety. I think
Mm,
often the therapeutic, especially the therapeutic relationship,
right.
and we're taught to say, it's a safe space, it's a safe space. Like, you can trust me, you can trust me. And that actually takes away from the client's agency and their ability to discern what is safe for them in an embodied way too. Like, it takes time to build safety. Safety should not be assumed. It
Yeah.
should be built, and we should honor and somebody had responded to that post online and messaged me, we should honor the client's distrust of us.
Yes.
It's there for a reason, right?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Safety's built. We're not going to assume because I
Yes.
hold this authority, right? Or I
Mhm.
hold this licensure that I'm a safe person. There's a lot of people out there causing harm who have licenses,
Yeah.
right?
With
So
licenses.
with licenses, yeah, it's, so right,
Yeah.
we take,
Hmm.
we seriously, like, that's why it takes time to build that, like, coherence, safety, right?
Yeah.
To build that trust. It shouldn't be just assumed because we all have the same political views that we're all automatically safe. No.
Absolutely. No, we're not.
No, right? It takes time to build that. So I just wanted to mention that too, because I was like, yes, that came up for me as well too.
Yeah, it does circle back to something we talked in a previous episode. Before we close, like I did want to like shout out to our previous episode in which we spoke
Yeah.
about the fact that we don't ever want to shame people for holding the trauma responses that we hold, this not able to feel safe yet. That
Yes.
is a part of you that was guarding you, protecting you, and we need to honor it, respect it, and identify what is it telling us about the conditions it requires in order to find its way to safety. And maybe there are spaces that are safe enough, not 100% safe, but safe enough. Like, how do we continue to journey towards that together? So,
Yes. Yeah. Awesome.
awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, it was always a pleasure. It's always wonderful getting to chat with you. I feel like we could talk even more, but we have busy schedules. We have other things that we have to do and other commitments. But
Good.
Tolu signing off. Thanks for listening and watching as well too.
Absolutely. And this is Gitika signing off. Thanks everyone for listening. And we will be in your inbox in a few weeks. And please feel free to get in touch with us through our mailing function on our podcast. So we look forward to hearing from you. Look at our show notes for ways to contact us. This is Gitika and Tolu signing off.
Bye.
Bye.